occupational lung disease. Introduction. Occupational lung disease is nothing but the person is exposed towards certain irritants or certain job to an array of lung disease that may be lasting effect even after exposure, and where exactly the location of house or the work or the environment, these are the more risk factors for occupational lung disease. And definition: occupational lung diseases are occupied or work-related lung condition that have been caused or made worse by the materials or person exposed towards the workplace. That is mainly that the person will be affected with, example, cashew nut factory or mill, cotton mill, like that. The people those are exposed for a long time, they may be developing occupational asthma, industrial bronchitis, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, bronchiolitis obliterans, or even an inhalation injury, interstitial lung disease such as pneumoconiosis, hypersensitivity pneumonitis, lung fibrosis, infections, lung cancer, and even mesothelioma. Types of occupational lung diseases. So first, asthma. It's a respiratory disease that can begin or worsen due to when the person is exposed towards a dust or any pollen. So here what will happen, there will be a narrowing of the respiratory tract. So this will be caused due to a variety of suspense, that is due to any allergens, or the person is exposure towards any cotton mill. So this will be mainly happening at the workplace. And the next is bronchiolitis obliterans. This also we will call it as constrictive bronchiolitis. The bronchioles will be getting constricted or narrowed, or obliterative bronchitis, and mainly this will be caused due to any injury in the smallest airways called the bronchioles. And when the person is exposed towards any inhaled toxins or gases, that is mainly sulfur mustard gas or nitrogen dioxide, and diacetyl, that is mainly used for food and beverage flavorings, and pentanidone, fly ash, and fiberglass. And COPD, that is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is a combination of chronic bronchitis and emphysema, and it is mainly caused due to the person is exposed towards silica and coal dust. And the people those are working mining, construction, manufacturing, that is mainly textiles, rubber industry, or any plastic or leather, and even building and utilities are at higher risk for COPD. The next is hypersensitivity pneumonitis. So hypersensitivity pneumonitis, also called as allergic alveolitis and bagpipe lung or extrinsic allergic alveolitis. It is an inflammation of the alveoli within the lung caused by hypersensitivity to inhaled organic dust. The next is the lung cancer. It is mainly caused due to an ionizing radiation or certain chemicals, or which is even occupational exposure towards certain metals, dust, and fibers. Mesothelioma. So mesothelioma is a cancer of mesothelium, part of which the pleura, the lining of the lungs, and is caused by exposure to asbestos. The next is pneumoconiosis. Is an occupational disease caused due to an accumulation of dust in the lungs and body reactions, and mainly when the person is exposed towards silicosis or coal workers or asbestos, it will be occurring. Then smoke inhalation, that is smoke inhalation mainly causes the pulmonary injury, that is it contains the carbon monoxide. It is a colorless and odorless gas, and it will be highly impaired respiration, and oxygen will be in the oxygen in the hemoglobin will be minimized due to exposed towards carbon monoxide, and it will be severely reducing the quantity of circulatory oxygen and tissue oxygenation, and may leads to carbon monoxide poisoning. And cyanide is inhaled in the lungs in a gaseous form, and it is highly toxic, and even in the plants such as in pits of apricot, cyanide can be found as glyphosate and synthesis cyanide. And the next is the pulmonary aspiration syndrome. So it is an aspirated content depend upon the syndrome is a group of illness. So the aspiration syndrome is depend upon the quantity, amount of the things they have exposed, quantity and constituent of aspirated gastric content. And the chronic aspiration of gastric content, that is disorder of larynx, mainly it will be affecting the larynx and esophagus, and even it may cause a chronic aspiration of gastric content, that is achalasia and esophageal stricture. Aspirating an inert material. So aspirating a large inert material, it will be impaired cough and cause asphyxia. Hydrocarbon pneumonitis, it is an secondary aspiration mainly followed by vomiting, and it is caused due to an ingested petroleum products such as gasoline, kerosene, furniture polish and other petroleum products. Mainly it will be occurring in the home environment. The next is lipoid pneumonia. It's a chronic disorder common among people. Those are having difficulties swallowing or with aspiration. The people those are having any dysphagia, such type of people, they will be prone to develop lipoid pneumonia, and with aspiration of any oil material like mineral oil, cod liver oil or oily noise drops. Then the causes of occupational lung disease, and in many substances the workplace can cause disease, and this occurs mainly there's some toxins will be irritating the lining of the lungs, and the common causes of the toxins, which includes that wood and cotton and coal, asbestos, silica and talc, and even the pesticides or drugs or enzyme powders and fiberglass are also will be hurting the lungs, and even certain cereal grains, coffee particles and food flavorings used to make microwave popcorn even cause damage to the lungs. And certain fumes from metals that are heated and cooled quickly, and these results will be fine and solid particles will be carried in the air. And example, if you are exposed towards the welding industry or smelting or furnace work or pottery making, plastics manufacturing and rubber operation, this all the things will be hurting the lungs. And even smoke from burning materials, and this smoke contains variety of particles, gases and vapors, and firefighters are at increased risk. And even the gases such as formaldehyde, ammonia and chloride, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, and this when this is exposed towards a high heat operations such as welding, brazing, smelting or oven drying and furnace work, this will be hazard for the lungs. And the vaporoser, a form of glass, it's a form of glass by all liquids, usually irritate the nose, and soon after when the person is exposed towards the vaporoser gas, they will be started sneezing. And this will be irritating the throat and affecting the lungs, and even the mist or spray foam paints. Certain paints, some lacquers such as varnish, hairspray, pesticides and cleaning products, acids, oils and solvents such as turpentine, even also this will be allergic towards some people. Let us see what are the symptoms of work-related lung disease. So initially the patient will be started coughing, then shortness of breath, and which get worse with activity. So whenever they are doing any strenuous activities, they will be feeling high the shortness of breath. Even when we are grading the level of the breathing pattern or the dyspnea, we will be knowing, and there will be a chest pain and chest tightness and abnormal breathing pattern. And how we can diagnose the people with an occupational lung disease. So first we will be collecting the history, whether the person is exposed towards any pesticides or silicose or cotton factory woolen, or whether there is any history of allergic history or any family history of asthma or any lung diseases like that. Collecting the history, then we will do the physical examination. Mainly we will be assessing the chest and whether the person is using the normal muscles of respiration or whether there is any labored breathing and paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. The common muscles of respiration that the patient will be, that the common people will be using, that is the intercostal muscles and diaphragm. And the people, those who are having an occupational lung disease, it will be highly affecting the lung, and the person will be having abdominal muscles they will be using, or accessory muscles they will be using for breathing. And then next we will move for a chest x-ray. So the chest x-ray, we will be identifying the internal tissues and bones and organs and any hyperinfiltration of lungs like that, any pneumothorax, all the things will be identified by doing a chest x-ray. And the pulmonary function test, here we are assessing, in order to, here we are measuring the lungs' ability to move air into and out of the lungs, and this test often done with a special machines that you breathe into. So here they will be assessing the inspiration-expiration ratio, that tidal volume will be measured by having the pulmonary function test. Coming to the bronchoscopy. So bronchoscopy is a flexible tube, and the tube normal we call it as bronchoscope. And here what is the purpose of doing bronchoscopy means in order to visualize the bronchi, that is the airways of the lungs, and even the bronchoscopy helps to diagnose the lung problems, or whether there is any narrowing in the passage of the lungs, or even sometimes if it's needed for any further biopsy or anything, even we may be taking some amount of tissues or fluid samples, or even for removing any foreign body also we will be using the bronchoscopy. And bronchoscopy may include a biopsy or bronchoalveolar lavage. Biopsy, as we know that a small piece of tissue will be taken for to some cytological examination. So here a small piece of tissue or some piece of cells or fluid from the lungs will be taken, and this will be commonly checked under a microscope. And the next, bronchoalveolar lavage, and this test removes cells from the lower respiratory tract, and this is done to help to find any inflammation in the lungs, and in order to rule out the cause, or if you want to start any treatment, before that we will be doing the bronchoalveolar lavage. The blood gas is nothing but as like that arterial blood gas analysis. So here, why we are doing the blood gas means to measure the amount of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the blood, and other blood tests may be used for possible infection. So the blood gas, that is the arterial blood gas, we will be taking an 1 ml of arterial blood, and here mainly we will be assessing the patient's level of that partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide. That's what we called as PO2 and PCO2, and the PO2, the normal value is between 80 to 100%, and PCO2, that is 35 to 45%. So the people, those are having an occupational lung disease, so commonly PO2 will be reduced, and in case the PO2 level is reduced, automatically the PCO2 level will be up. So here the patient, those are having an occupational lung disease, the PO2 level will be always less than 80%, and the PCO2 level automatically it will be increased, it will be above 45%. So here it's a need of oxygen therapy. And CT scan, the CT scan is a non-invasive procedure, and here it's an imaging test that uses X-rays and computer. So sometimes if you want, because when we are doing X-ray, we won't get the detailed images of the lungs or the chest. So in order to obtain a detailed images, we will be seeking the CT scan. So here the CT scan shows details of bones, muscles, fat and organs, and that is very helpful to diagnose any lung diseases, watch disease progression, and even That initial, at the time of diagnosis also we will be taking a CT scan, and in case after starting the treatment, the level of healing of the lungs and the progression towards the treatment, in order to evaluate the response of treatment also, that post CT scan will be advised. Coming to the management, the silicosis is commonly the occupational lung disease or irreversible, and there is no cure at all. Only we can minimize the symptoms by having steroid or oxygen therapy. And the treatment options currently focus on alleviating symptoms and preventing complications, including stopping further exposure to silica and other lung irritants, and we should insist the patient to stop smoking, and cough suppressants can be given, and even antibiotics can be administered for treating lung infection. And these anti-tuberculosis drugs can be given for those who are having an active TB, and chest physiotherapy and that postural drainage will help to soothe the secretion. And even we can teach the breathing exercises and oxygen administration to treat hypoxemia, and bronchodilators we can give to facilitate breathing. And the better management, that is lung transplantation to replace damaged lung tissue, is the most effective treatment. Then the treatment and prevention, and the most important treatment for bisonosis is removal of individual from the attending work environment. So better avoid exposure to certain exhaust hoods, and better general increase the ventilation and vetting procedures, but respiratory protective equipment may be required. And always we have to screen the pulmonary function test in order to identify the susceptible individuals who exhibit airflow abnormalities. So here we can monitor the inspirator capacity, aspiration and tidal volume, so that we can start the treatment. So once the condition has developed, some symptomatic relief may be obtained. So once we have started administering antibiotic therapy or bronchodilators, or even make them to do the breathing exercises or giving pulmonary this chest drainage, so the person's symptoms will be relieved to some extent. And the steroids, if removed from the workplace, of pros impracticable. So how can occupational lung disease prevented? So the best prevention is the avoidance of the inhaled substance that cause lung disease. Also better, the National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute recommends taking other preventive measures, that stop smoking, wear proper protective device such as facial mask when around airborne irritants and dust, and evaluate the lung function test, use spirometry to evaluate the lung function performed in the office, and as per your doctor's advice. And even we can educate the workers concerning the risk of lung disease, and hire specifically trained occupational health expert to investigate the work environment, how they are exposed, like that work environment can be investigated. And finally, coming to the nursing management, here the nursing assessment, we should assess the breath sound of the patient. So normal, so the normal sound is, abnormal sound is, the patient will be having the thrill and wheezing sound. So this how the abnormal sounds will be evaluated, and the breathing pattern, whether the patient is, what type of muscles used for breathing pattern, whether it's abdominal muscles or any accessory muscles, and respiratory status, respiratory rate should be monitored, and we should ask the patient whether the patient is feeling any chest pain or discomfort while breathing, and in case they are spitting up of sputum, the color of the sputum, viscosity, amount, signs of any blood, all the things should be evaluated. And even associated symptoms along with the shortness of breath, like fatigue, weakness, anorexia, weight loss, night sweats, these all the associated symptoms also should be evaluated. And the patient will be having a low grade fever and cough and chest pain. Thank you.